game day.
Welcome into an episode of Chiefs Focus Live. We've got a full full crew back for this week. We got an important game coming up, game that might have some playoff implications later on. So we're going to talk a little Chiefs Bengals. First, we're going to do what we always do on our Thursday show, and we're going to hit up the injury report. We're going to talk some McDuffie and Jamar Chase, and just some general thoughts on both of these teams. We got Thiz running the show in the background. My name is Quentin Morris. We got Caleb the Professor, and now a guy who should be on right wrist watch. It is the old man himself, JP. Because I think your body's falling apart, like Joe Burrow.
Man, I'm feeling pretty good right now, so not
your
too bad.
Right wrist is doing okay.
Good.
It's not bad. My left wrist is a little sore, but my right's good.
I only bring that up because on the Chiefs side of the injury report, we've got the only significant one is Hollywood Brown. And we can get to that in a second. But actually, the most significant injury report actually comes from the Bengals. And it's Joe Burrow appearing on the injury report with his right wrist, which I don't know if you guys remember this from last year. But remember, there was that controversy where he was wearing the brace or that compression sleeve on there. And then he was like, oh, it's fine. Oh, it's fine. Then there was the doctor that said that he had an injury on it, but he had never seen it in a quarterback before. And it just seemed like the Bengals were hiding it. And then last week, there was that video of him on the sideline flexing his wrist and him trying to grab a water bottle and him grabbing it all weird. So, like, this whole, like, mantra has just grown and grown and grown.
I'm going to say something that I probably shouldn't, but I am. I was told by a very good source that his wrist will never be the same again. And he doesn't have the same motion. I'll put it that way. From that surgery that he had, he doesn't have the same motion. If that's the case, I don't know how long he's got. And I know he's got a pretty good injury guarantee, but I don't know how this is going to affect him long term. But it's, from what I understand, I mean, what I was told is the tendon was taken a little shorter than what they expected, and it's really tight, and he doesn't have the same motion anymore. And I know what that feels like. So being an ex-pitcher, it hurts when you try to throw and you don't have the same motion you used to have. You lose velocity, you lose angle, you lose a lot of different things. And it hurts all the time. So I have a feeling this wasn't taken care of the way it should have been, in my opinion. It sucks because Burrow's good for the league.
Yeah.
And if this continues, the way it looks, I mean, this is week 1 and he's already having problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I got a feeling, or week 2, I guess. Hey, what's up, Will? I got a feeling this is something that's going to be long-term for him. And it sucks. It really does. It's bad for him. It's bad for the league and it's bad for him. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game coming up. That's for sure. All the trash talking that's going on from some of those Bengals players that just never learn.
Yeah.
They just never learn. My God.
I will say this: Joe Burrow was a full participant on the practice report. All just out there. He wasn't limited or anything like that. But
that's good.
I just think that if to be on the practice report or to be on the injury list like this, that means you had to get some sort of treatment for it, especially if you end up on the injury report and you were a full participant. That means that you spent some time inside the training room, right? You spent some sort of time with the training staff. So there is something all going on with that right wrist. And I think this is something that everybody needs to pay attention to because right now, Joe Burrow is the only thing keeping that team together. We can talk about this in a minute. That defense is not very good.
They lost a lot of pieces.
They lost a lot of pieces. That defensive front itself is not as formidable as it used to be. Like this is not the same Bengals team as it was a few years ago.
No.
And Joe Burrow was the big reason why this team coming into Arrowhead, was going to be I don't want to say, a big challenge, but look, this is a quarterback in a quarterback-driven league that is giving your team fits.
Absolutely.
So this is a big matchup, and I think that it's diminished by that. I know that Jamar Chase is going to play in this game. I'm very confident in that because this is their Super Bowl. I mean, they're literally opening, despite the fact that this game is in Arrowhead, the Cincinnati Bengals are opening up the stadium for fans to come watch it in their stadium.
Wow.
Jumbotron there. So, look, this is a big game for them. And Joe Burrow's risk being certain. Mark Chase haven't getting a ball thrown to him in who knows how long. I think this offense is going to look mediocre to bad, like it did last week against the Patriots. And I think that this Bengals team is going to come in here and struggle.
Well, Caleb, you go. All I have to say is they are not ready for this offense. They're just not. And they're not, really, to be honest with you, even if Burrow was 100%, this is not the same defense that he faced in 21.
Not even close. Completely different group.
It's a different group. They're phenomenal. This defense is phenomenal, and I think it's going to be a struggle for them defensively. Our team is on top of things. So, and with this offense, look, we didn't get a chance to do a show last week after the Ravens game, which kind of sucked. But when this offense gels, they're going to be dangerous, absolutely dangerous. What I saw out of that offense during that Ravens game scared me a little bit. So, I don't know, man. I think the league should be on high alert because this team is this. Look, I'll say this, and people can say what they want. This team, to me, is way more dangerous than the 1920 Chiefs were. Way more dangerous. They have younger, more hungry players that have the speed. I mean, this is Legion of Zoom 2.0. This team is dangerous, and they're all good. What do you think, Caleb?
No, I agree. I think when you look at this team, they have a lot more weapons. They're willing to want to push the ball down the field. I mean, they're at every position. They have quality backups. They're going to be in a really good spot moving forward. Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. The list goes on and on. All those weapons. Kelsey, Pacheco, Steele. I mean, the list goes on and on with all these guys they have. So, I mean, the Chiefs can do stuff offensively. The defense did pretty good holding up for the most part last week. So they look really, really good, even without Snead. So from what it looks like right now, I think this team just they can't just beat themselves. Got to keep pushing through. Got to open up the offense. Got to figure out what's going to work. But they got so many weapons. This is the offense where you really can't double team anyone because someone's going to be open. Yeah. And that's what I've been talking about for years, and you've been on that, JP. Yep. Because if you can't double team everyone, you're going to have somebody just torching you all night.
And I got to tell you, with this team, the two high safety shells not going to be able to.
No.
It's not going to work with this team like it did with the Tyreek Hill era. I mean, it's just not. So, I don't know, man. It's dangerous. It's scary. Did you guys notice, and I wanted to bring this up, everybody said, well, Kelsey only had 34 yards. That's because he's not the primary target anymore. He's 35 years old. He's going to go out there and be a threat and be he's scary to be when he's on the field. But he didn't have to be on the field. And that's what they're leaning towards. He wants to be out there to help. And I know he wants his yards, and he'll get his yards. But if he's double teamed like he always is, or triple teamed, they have so many other weapons that they can go to. And now they're getting Pacheco involved in the passing game more. Holy crap, man.
And with Steele, he's a fullback running. I mean, he can do a lot. He can do something in the backfield. I mean, you got Wiley, who's basically, I think, can be a mini Kelsey.
Yeah.
Noah Gray. I mean, literally all these guys they have, it's like they're in a good spot. Like,
absolutely,
they can't beat themselves. That's the only reason what's going to happen if they lose. They beat themselves literally.
Yep. Travis Kelce's biggest value comes in the plays that are breaking down, and you need to find the open guy. So there was
the guy that finds a spot in the field. You're absolutely right.
There was that third and long. Mahomes started rolling out to his right. The play was breaking down, and Travis Kelce was wide open, like 30 yards down the field. I mean, he must have gotten 20 of his 34 yards on that one pass.
Absolutely.
It's this play, right? So he's starting to, boom, he's rolling out. You think you got him. Plays breaking down. I'm going to chuck it to Travis Kelce, who's got 3-4 yards of separation. That's the value that Travis Kelce brings, and those are the plays that you want to see. I don't need to see Travis Kelce, catching, little 4 or 5 yard dump routes anymore. We can give that role to somebody else. Like we saw with literally the very first play from scrimmage on the Chiefs side, where Rashee Rice he got that ball so fast. I didn't even see the football being thrown. Like I did not see the
zipped it
football
out.
come out of Mahomes' hands. In the past, that is a Travis Kelce play, right?
Absolutely.
He's lined up in the slot. You're going to this play right here. I mean, the ball, getting those sort of plays away from Travis Kelce and giving them to other guys in the offense who are, let's be real, more athletic and have more big play ability in them, more yak
15.
yards in them.
A lot of them are 12, 13 years younger than him. I mean,
Exactly, right? So let's take advantage of that and let's start to spread the ball out to some of the other guys in the offense. I know fantasy football people don't want to hear this.
Yep, they don't.
I'm talking to you, whoever
I'm about to
took
say, you can
Travis
call me. I didn't
Kelce.
do nothing.
Whoever took Travis
I didn't
Kelce
do
number
anything.
4 overall in my fantasy football league, you know who I'm talking to.
Must be your brother.
Look, it's
dad.
the ability to divide and conquer with this offense, and you couldn't do that last year because there were 1.5 responsible targets on this offense, and now that you have restructured that offense, and all of this is without Hollywood Brown being out there, right?
Exactly.
You're looking at a Rashee Rice who looks like he could be a 1,200-yard receiver, a Travis Kelce who I don't need you to be that guy anymore, but when the play breaks down, you're the guy. And now we've got Xavier Worthy who, if he has one big play a game, that's all that you need from him. I don't need you to be anything else special. If you can just continue to remind the teams, hey, by the way, if you stop playing cloud coverage, this is going 60 yards down the field and there's nothing you can do about it. So you pick.
I don't know if this has that replay in here, but there was a ball that was thrown by Mahomes. It looked like it was going about 70 miles an hour. And somehow Worthy caught that ball. And I went, holy shit, I didn't even see it come out of his hand. And he just fired it. And I went, oh my God. It was insane. I mean, I didn't see it, but it was insane. And I didn't think Worthy, honestly, I didn't even see Worthy catch the ball, but he did. Oh God. Look, that kid's going to be a star. He is going to be I don't care what they say about his size. Look, a guy that quick and has that and can get that much separation. Who was it that on the Bengals, Cambrit Taylor, whatever his name is? What's his name? That defensive back?
Cornerback. Yes, Cameron Big Taylor or something like that.
Yeah, he
Taylor
ran his
Britt
mouth
or
saying he
something.
wasn't that. He says, I'm not worried about him. He's a little guy. If I touch him, he weighs 100 and something pounds. He's just going to fall. Yeah, he's fast, but oh well. Well, go ahead and try to touch him. That kid has got more route running ability, and the speed alone, you're not going to be able to catch him. It's going to be insane to watch him develop in this league. And Rice, I said it last week on Twitter. I brought up who I thought was going to be the guy, or the guy that shows out in that game. I said Rashee Rice is going to be that guy because of all the shit talking he's had to deal with for the last 6 months, and he blew it up. We have a scary offense, man. I mean, this is the first time I think that, it is the first time in Mahomes' career that he's got a capable offense, a dynamic offense, and a very dynamic defense.
I think when we go back, and we could probably have this conversation during the bye week, so here in a month and a half, I think this is the most talented and most well-rounded team that Mahomes has had.
Ever. Ever. I mean, absolutely. I mean, without fail, it's the most well-rounded team and most talented team all the way around.
Do you guys remember Tavon Austin?
Yep.
He played for the St. Louis Rams back in the day. That's who Xavier Worthy kind of reminds me of, right? Because Tavon Austin was a smaller guy, very fast. But I think Tavon Austin was a little bit before his time, right?
Yep.
And when he was drafted in the mid 2000 teens.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
13,
out of
something
West
like
Virginia.
that. I mean, when he was brought into the league, that guy was just a punt returner, and they weren't really infiltrated into the offense yet. But I think that's what that same body type, that same explosiveness, that's who he reminds me of. And I think that he can have a better career arc than Tavon Austin did just because of where he is, in terms of the modern NFL, in terms of how those sort of guys are used nowadays. But yeah, that's who he reminds me of as he's now in the NFL.
That's a good comparison.
That is a good comparison.
I know, they usually are.
Okay.
But anyway. That's neither here nor there, but we'll move on. What's next? We did injury report.
I actually wanted to talk about the Chiefs corners here. We spent all off season going over, who's going to play that second corner spot because we knew McDuffie was going to be the guy. And we were wondering who's going to take up that number 2 spot, and it looks like that Watson has sort of won himself that role. It looks like that
Mhm.
because I thought it was going to be more role by committee. It was going to be a lot of rotating in and out. It was going to be, hey, if we're in this package, this corner goes out. If this package, this corner goes out. Watson seems to be the guy that they're going to go with, and it doesn't seem to
Yep.
be a lot of ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, Watson looks so good. Look at this play right here. His cover ability is amazing.
Nice.
I was blown away when he's just that kid's got a lot to prove, and he's been trying to prove it. And I think now that he's got the opportunity, he's going to make the most of it. But he's got so much ability and so much talent, and he's fast. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's stolen that position. I still think Andy's going to rotate a little bit, but I don't think it's going to. I think he's the main guy for that spot.
I agree.
He's the second Snead. I mean, he really
He's
is.
he's
going to take that
improved.
spot over.
Yep, leaps into bounds. He's improved.
Will said I was at the Ravens game. Did the Ravens players go after Mahomes' legs on the bank? On the
I think
Bengals?
he's the Ravens. I think he's the Ravens.
Oh,
He's the Ravens.
the Ravens sideline. I don't know. There was no doubt that was a dirty hit. I think both of them were, but I don't know if they went after his legs. I just know they were trying to get him out of the
They just
game.
knocked him, hit him. Yeah, they were just trying to knock him out. Clear out of bounds, got hit.
I mean, that's what. Look, if anybody doesn't realize it yet, I don't think you've been watching football long enough. The Ravens, when they're down, they play extremely dirty. That's just their game. Harbaugh, I'm kind of surprised Harbaugh allows that to happen because he seems like a halfway decent guy, but they just go dirty, man. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. They've been wanting to get rid of Mahomes for a long time. I think look, they tried their best. They didn't succeed.
It's too many weapons.
Mahomes, is he a good actor? To a degree, but he was hit. Doesn't matter if he flopped a little bit or not. That's part of your job. But in the same aspect, he was hit out of bounds. Should have been called.
Yep.
The one wasn't called. One was called. I think that was just a makeup for the first one that they missed. But, you hear all the chatter, too, about, well, the Ravens were pissed off because they got all those penalties in the first half. Oh, he can't stand Mahomes. You're right, brother. He can't. And he really can't stand Peyton now. Peyton Hendershot, because he said in his press conference he needs to watch himself. Half the people didn't even know he was a player. They thought he was a medical guy.
You know what my response to that is?
Yeah.
You want to know my response? Ooh, okay, Patrick. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, look, there's no doubt in a million years that they wanted him out of the game. God dang, he's fast, dude. He's just stupid fast. There's no doubt about it. That kid's scary. If you guys are watching that replay, oh God.
Thank you, Buffalo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you,
again,
Buffalo,
for the
again.
fourth
Yes,
time. Thank
again.
you again. It is what it is. The Ravens, look, they have. I'm going to give Lamar a little bit of credit, very little, but I am going to give him some. He had 273 yards, but he threw the ball 41 times. Mahomes had 291 yards, threw the ball 28 times. So we have to really look at it from that perspective. It doesn't matter how many yards Lamar got, really, because he threw the ball so many times. And look, man, he had some misses, wide open wide receivers that I was like blown away by. I was like, damn, man, his accuracy is back to 2019 again. His accuracy is terrible. He just doesn't have it. I'm sorry, but he just doesn't. He relies too much on his legs and not enough on his arm.
He's basically carrying the team on his entire back. That's the issue.
He really is.
They still have not gotten quality receivers, and they have a running back that they didn't even use.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
won't even use him, which makes zero sense. I'm like, get an offense to get some receivers.
I have a question. Henry, every time he plays us, the last 2 times, 67 yards, I think it's 68 yards. 2 times we shut him down. This time we really shut him down. He did nothing against us.
I think his best run was like 6-7 yards.
Yeah. My question is, they pulled him out of that game, and he was on the sidelines just standing there. He didn't even have his helmet on for a minute. He had it up on top of his head like he wasn't going back in, which he really didn't. Do you think he got injured? Do you think he was feeling some pain?
Probably feels
Because
some pain. I don't think he was injured, but I think also they just abandoned the run game too quickly. I feel like.
that was, to me, I thought this is like classic Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in the AFC Championship game, he just abandoned everybody running. Lamar trying to throw the ball, wasn't getting anywhere with it. He did it again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It was just a weird. They have a very weird. How should I say this? Their game plans are strange, and it's like when they don't get what they want immediately, they abandon everything and just go off script. It's very strange to me. But yeah, well, I think it was definitely dirty. I know we got off on a tangent there because we haven't had a chance to talk about that Ravens game, but they're just a dirty team, man. There's nothing you can do about it. They're always going to be that way. And to some degree, the Bengals are somewhat dirty in that respect. I think you're going to see some of that Sunday. I think you're going to see. Believe me, if we're up, which I have a feeling, I got a strange feeling we're going to be up like 21-0 by half, if not a little better. I don't think they're going to score on us in the first half. That's just my opinion. But Chase is going to try, but you know who's going to be guarding him, and it's going to be rough on him. So what was it? Remember the first half of the last time we played him? He had 8 yards on 4.
Something ridiculous.
He had 8 yards in the first half. So I got a feeling that's what we're going to see this time. That's my opinion.
Well, because here's the thing, is that I do not think that this offense as in the Bengals offense, it can really produce much. And
not much there.
When you look at the over under, when the gambling information came out on this game, the Chiefs were favored by 6.5 points. And usually when that happens, I immediately would be like, that no, I would fade that. None of the game. Every time the Chiefs have faced the Bengals, it's been a 3-point game.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that I'm expecting. But then you start to piece together everything that has happened over the last week or so, and it's just like, I kind of get it. I understand why the Chiefs were favored by a touchdown in this game. It's crazy to think that this team has sort of fallen from grace. I mean, even just a few weeks ago when we were looking at this schedule and it was, Ravens, Bengals, and it's like, man, what a 1-2 punch to try and start your year off with.
Yep. And we talked about that. If you guys remember last year after the Burrow incident and his surgery, we already knew that team was on the decline. And everybody said, "Oh, you're homers." No, it's not, because we actually want Burrow in the league. We like the rivalry. But the problem is that team is not set up. I can't just say the team. I don't know if the coaching staff,
the whole everything all the way down,
off.
the water boy, everything, the owners of the water boy.
Yeah, they're all. The whole thing is off. They don't have the weapons. They haven't signed Chase. They're fighting with that situation. Higgins is not playing in this week at all now. They don't have the running back they used to have. They don't have the defense they used to have. Everything has just gone to shit for them. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just not the same football team they used to be. And I had a feeling that was going to happen, but I didn't want to trash them too much, even though they love to trash us. It is what it is. They're just not the same football team. I would be more worried right now about the Bills playing them week 2 than I am the Bengals.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that, we talk about the AFC North, and that division is going to beat itself up. So if the Bengals are really looking to make a run at the playoffs, losing to the Patriots is such a big deal because it was a game that you were supposed to win. Yeah. And wins are not going to come lightly in the AFC North. Whereas if Kansas City hypothetically drops a gimme game to whatever team, right? It's like, well, you look at the schedule and you feel good about getting one of your division games back, or you feel like you can take one from somebody else. It's not like that for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like,
Nope.
this is going to be a
It's a gauntlet.
tough situation for the Bengals to try and and I know we're talking week 1, and it feels a little overreaction Monday-esque, but the Bengals, who historically start off slow under their head coach, for them to try and come out and play Kansas City in week 2 is a tough ask for them, especially when Joe Burrow does not look the same as he did last year.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. They don't have the same weapons on defense. They don't have that crew anymore. They really don't have the same weapons on offense. And now they have to come out and play a team that has just built themselves into another Super Bowl team, and they haven't. It's going to be tough for them. I mean, look, if you look at every time we've played them in the regular season, it's always later in the year. Week 17, week 14. Now they're playing as week 2 when they historically are, like you said, they're historically slow from week 1 to week 6. And now they're struggling because they were slow when they had a really good football team. They were slow. They started off slow.
Yeah.
I remember, was it 2 years ago? They started off 1-5 or something.
There was they've had one win. They've had one win under their head coach in the first 2 weeks. I mean, this is a team that just historically under their head coach has just started off slow.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to overreact to it, but it just feels different this time around, Remember, what was it, last year or 2 years ago? Joe Burrow had like 4 picks against the Steelers in their home opener. Like, he's had some pretty bad games in their home opener / the first couple weeks. But this game, it didn't feel like he was just making bad decisions or the team felt rusty. It just looked like he was physically limited.
Yeah.
And
he is.
And he is. If you look at he went 21 of 29, and he completed two balls past the 15-yard line, 15 yards past the line of scrimmage. Everything else was within or around the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's crazy that, this is where the Joe Burrow-led offense has sort of turned to. And like I said, it's week 1. I don't want to overreact, but it's the Patriots. And it's the Patriots of 2024. Yeah, they might have a good defense.
They're not
but it's
that
the
good.
Patriots of 2024. Like,
but they're not that good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Their defense is good. Well, we don't know yet because they did play a team that, look, if that tells you anything, Quentin, I would say, okay, if this defense was a perennial top 5 defense that we've seen over the last couple of years, then I can understand him maybe throwing some dump off passes and not getting, the short yardage stuff. That kind of gives you an indication. If he can't get the ball downfield more than 15 yards during an entire 60-minute game, that kind of gives you an indication there's an issue with his wrist.
Well, and here's
we'll
the
find
thing.
out. But
next gen stats had Joe Burrow was pressured at the 3rd lowest rate of his entire career. He averaged 5.6 yards per attempt with no pressure. So it's not like it's not like he was, making poor decisions because he was under pressure and he's trying to get out of the pocket and, you can't make the throw on the run. No, he was in a clean pocket and he was still throwing the ball 2 yards down the field.
Exactly. I mean, Chase was pissed off after, 10 minutes during the game because he was, he was making mistakes. Well, Burrow wasn't getting to him. Chase was wide open downfield a few times during that first opening drive of theirs, and Burrow didn't go to him. And then the one time he did, the ball was way off target and short. So they said it was a miscommunication. Chase went too far, whatever you want to call it. That's not true. Burrow's just not the same quarterback. I'm sorry, and it sucks. But he's not. And I hate to say that because, look, man, as much as everybody wants another quarterback to come in and be the next Patrick Mahomes, he was probably – God, I can't believe I'm saying this. He was probably he wasn't the next Patrick Mahomes, but he was the most
likely to be up there.
He was most likely to be up there.
He was the second best quarterback in the league.
He was the second best quarterback in the league, and now he's not. And I got to be honest with you. I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this a few days ago, and I brought it up numerous times, and I think I've even said this on the show. Justin Herbert, in my opinion, is a top 3 quarterback.
Ooh.
I don't care what anyone says. Think about this, Quentin.
On the right team, yeah.
On the right football team, that guy's a dominant player. He's tough. he knows he can run. He's very accurate. He's got an arm that can sail a ball 70 yards easily.
I don't know, not with his tendonitis in his foot.
That has nothing to do with his arm. But
well, if you're trying to throw the ball down the field and you can't step into your throw.
No different than Mahomes, though. Mahomes was playing on a bad ankle, but if your arm strength is there,
he's built
different. I think Herbert, if he was with the right football team, I'll tell you this right now. If he was with Miami last year, that would have been a totally different playoff run.
Well, yeah.
So when you go through 4 different offensive coordinators and 3 different head coaches, there's no way. And then have all the problems that you've had with players leaving, defense not being there for you, all the shit that you have to deal with, that he's had to deal with. Dude, he's a great quarterback, and people don't give him enough credit. I think he's better than Burrow. I think he's better than Burrow was in 21. I really do. All the hype about Caleb Williams fell on his ass in that first game. He did not score a touchdown in that first game.
He got the game ball, though.
He got the game ball, and I don't know how.
I think they should have given the game ball to Mayo Man for throwing the interception. But that's
damn straight, because that game ended on a pick 6. So I don't know, dude. I don't like all the hype about the next guy. Caleb Williams he looked confused out there. Did anybody watch that game?
Saw the highlights. He did not look great.
He looked completely confused during that. I watched the first half and I thought, holy shit. He's down 17-0, and he was completely confused out there. Did we ever see Mahomes confused?
He didn't play as a rookie.
He did. That's week 17 he played.
No. Yeah, that's not the same.
I know, but I'm saying he didn't look confused. When Mahomes came out his first year as a starter, he didn't look confused. Herbert doesn't look confused. He got thrown into a game against us.
He did get thrown into a game, yeah.
And
what happens when your doctor stabs somebody in the lungs?
Exactly. But he played his ass off, though. He played very well. I'm telling you, man, put that kid on a good foot. And look, we don't know what this Chargers team is going to be yet. I know they ran the ball for 100. I mean, he got 135 yards on the ground from one guy, which that's a Harbaugh trait. But I'm telling you, man, put him on a good football team. 3 years ago, put him on a good football team. You probably wouldn't be talking about Burrow as much. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I do want to ask you, one sort of tease you into a question here. So if Joe Burrow can't pass the ball down the field, and we have on screen right now his passing chart for the game against the Patriots, for our visual listeners, you can see that a lot of those completions are within less than 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. For our audio listeners, I'll sort of explain it to you. He had a significant amount of passes that were either slightly to the right of him or basically right in front of him if you're just standing in a normal, quarterback position. He only had a couple of passes down past the 20-yard line, with only one of them being a completion. So if Joe Burrow comes out and has a passing spread, a passing chart similar to that, what does this offense look like against Kansas City?
Oh, God. Dude.
Limited.
It's extremely limited. And if you look at the one pass that was like 28 yards downfield, most of that was yak.
That passing chart shows where the ball landed. So
it does? Okay.
It does, yeah. So the white circles are incompletions.
About 25 yards? Is that what that was?
That passing chart does not include yak yards. That's just wherever the ball either landed or where the ball was completed.
He said Trent will eat. Absolutely he will.
Yeah.
Absolutely he will. I mean, I don't know, man.
This is going to be a big game for Nick Bolton.
Yeah.
Because he took a lot of criticism in week 1 for
I gave him some.
Yeah, right. He should have. He didn't have a great game.
He looked lost out there. I'm sorry, but he looked lost on a couple of those plays.
So
it kind of
me
irritated
a little bit. This is a very big game for Nick Bolton to see what he can do. If the passing chart looks similar to that, and they start to throw the ball over the middle of the field, then our linebackers are going to play a big part of that. And Nick Bolton will have an opportunity to sort of redeem himself from his poor play last week.
Yeah, he just looked lost, and he did look slow. but he looked very confused out there on a lot of those plays, and it was frustrating because look, we're talking about the guy that got the green dot 4 games into his rookie year,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden he just looked completely confused. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in that game, but I didn't like it. I know that. I know Shamar Connor looked damn good.
You know he did.
Whew, that boy looked good. He knows what he's doing out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that simple. He knows what he's doing. But Nick Bolton, man, I mean, you kind of wonder why they hadn't signed him yet and gave him that extension. There's your answer.
Good indicator right there. Leopold's
Yep.
the next up in the line.
Damn straight. I don't know, man. If Burrow comes out and plays flat, look, he played a defense that's nowhere near, whether it's defensive line, linebackers, secondary, it doesn't make a bit of difference. They were nowhere near as good as us.
Well, and I think just from a pass rushing perspective, right? Like I gave you the stat that, it was his third lowest pressure rate of his career.
Correct.
And he struggled. So if he comes in here, I know we spent a lot of time talking about Joe Burrow, but if he comes in here and he has a very similar passing chart to that, the way they're trying to build their offense, against Kansas City is we're going to throw the ball short, quick, and we're going to try and get yak. Then that tells me one of two things. One, they don't trust their offensive line still, right? Because they're trying to get the ball out quickly. Or two, there's some sort of limitation to what Joe Burrow is able to do. And maybe it's a combination of the two. But the fact that he had the third lowest pressure rate of his entire career and he threw like that tells me that this offense is not built to go down. Or maybe it's the third option, which is the only passing threat they have on this offense right now is Jamar Chase, because T. Higgins is injured and they had to let their third guy walk. So maybe it's just that, their weapons have been depleted and, they can't get open. Because let's be honest, Jamar Chase is going to see a ton of double teams because the way this defense is going to play, it's going to be, can anybody else beat you? Right? I'm always having a shade on Jamar Chase, and I'm going to have 2 guys on Jamar Chase constantly. And I'm going to ask, can your third or fourth wide receiver beat me? Probably not, but we're going to challenge you, and that's what it's going to be.
I agree. I don't know, man. I mean, looking at it if he's got the second lowest pressure rate of his career, okay, I don't believe for 1 second that he didn't have enough time to throw the ball. So I think it's one of two things. I think it's either, I do believe he's got limitations. I've been told this, and I really believe it. But I do believe that I agree with the Chase situation or the wide receiver situation. I think that's going to play a part in his ability to get downfield. But in the same aspect, when you have that kind of time, somebody should be able to get open, whether it's your third or fourth wide receiver, especially against that defense. Because their corners are good, but they're not that damn good. So I don't know, man. I think a lot of it has to do with his limitations. I really do. As much as I don't want to say that, I think it is. And we'll know during this game. I think Chase is in for a big surprise. I think he's going to be upset, but I think he's going to piss him off so much that he plays even more poorly than.
You think Jamar Chase is going to get a personal foul penalty?
I have a
He might, the way he acts.
Way he acts,
I do.
He's gonna
he's a child, man.
Yeah,
he's
gonna get a personal foul penalty.
Very immature.
Let's flip the script here for a minute because I do want to talk about one thing. I want to talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs being able to run the ball against this Bengals defense, because we talked about the flaws of the Bengals defense, but we didn't get into a lot of specifics. The Bengals run defense is not good, and that comes from them not being able to maintain a lot of the middle of the guys in their defense, not being able to keep them. I think Kansas City could just Marty ball this, and they could run the ball over and over again. Run on first down, run on second down, run on third down, and just for good measure, run on fourth down. I mean, there's a real good chance that I don't think it'll happen because this is a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid system right now. But I'm pretty sure that if you want to play the keep away and, you're up by 10 in the third quarter and the halfway through the fourth quarter, Kansas City could bleed clock because there's just no run game defense on the Bengals side.
No, there's not. They lost all their interior guys. Well, most of them anyway. And I don't know, man. I think you're right. This might be the game that we see either P. Ryan or Carson Steele blow it up. It could absolutely be that game.
If Carson Steele gets like 2 opportunities to run the ball and he has a big game, Arrowhead might just explode and fall
Absolutely,
apart, because
they will.
when he touched the ball in Sunday's game, or last Thursday's game, excuse me, when he touched the ball in last Thursday's game, you could feel the energy was just different. Talk about a
real still.
I know. Talk about a guy that just media darling, camp darling, however you want to put it. Just like the Chiefs Kingdom just fell in love with, and he's just become that guy. So I would love to see them just run the ball, and run the ball some more, because I have no faith that this Bengals defensive run game can really slow down a Chiefs offense that much, especially if you're going to try and play the game where the Bengals are going to come out and they're going to play some sort of cloud coverage, some sort of cover 4, cover 2 type defense. And I'm going to run the ball. And I'm going to run the ball over and over again. And when you start to shade up, eventually I throw it over the top. And if that's the game plan moving forward, man, I think that could be very effective.
I agree. I think we're going to see, as the season progresses, we're going to see Pacheco more involved in the run game, depending on the defensive schemes that we're going up against. I know he dropped one last week, or he missed one last week, but they're going to continue to feed him passes, because P. Ryan is a beast and Carson Steele is another beast. Going against a defense like this will be a great game to let P. Ryan, would be nice to see him get a bunch of touches. But I think you're going to see Pacheco get more involved in the passing game, because this is a really good opportunity for the Chiefs to not only give him some practice in that, but also try out different plays and different schemes that they've got in their playbook designed for just that. So I think that you're going to see that this week, just because of that defense and their lack of being able to stop the run. So,
I guess. Do you have any other thoughts before we get to our score predictions, or any specific players to watch that we haven't mentioned?
Not that I can think of.
No, we've mentioned everybody that I think has turned out to, by the way, the only person I can think of is my man Kingsley.
Yes, that was going to be someone I wanted to bring up.
Woo!
Can you pronounce his last name? Because the announcer.
You need 5 tries. I can do it. How do you say it?
I can't.
Tua Mataiga.
Tua Mataiga.
Spell it. It's pronounced phonetically.
Tua Mataiga.
Tua Mataiga. Yeah.
I'm good with names. There we go.
It's like
I should be in the spelling bee for names.
Come on, it's spelled out phonetically. We got this. All right, we can figure it out. And if you're sitting in a booth and you've had more than a week, because it's the first game of the year, you knew who the starting left tackle was going to be, you should be able to pronounce the guy's name. And if you don't know how to pronounce his last name, call him Kingsley, because his first name is unique enough that you know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say this about that kid. He was phenomenal last week.
He played pretty well. Struggled a little bit in the run game. But yeah, I'm very impressed with especially a rookie left tackle who historically Andy Reid doesn't trust rookie tackles, not just left tackles, but tackles in general. He went out there and he did his job.
The pressure rate was low.
Yeah,
look, man,
impressive. It was impressive all around.
I think he played phenomenal. I don't know, for his first time playing the Ravens, the first time on an NFL field, and he played against the Ravens, which actually has a pretty damn good defensive line.
Yep.
He did a great job, man. A great job. I can't, when they said he was going to start, I thought, wait, what? I mean, I get it to a degree, because you can't really trust what's his face there. I can't think of his name right now. Been on our team for like 3 years.
Wanya Morris.
I get it. And he's a little injury prone, and he's got some problems, but damn, I mean, Andy putting in a left tackle as a rookie left tackle. Oh,
he has faith.
Man, you got to have, if Andy had faith in that kid, then everybody should have faith in that kid, because that's not something Andy does.
No.
I was blown away at his performance last week. If he continues that, he's going to get paid in 3 years. Holy shit, he's going to get paid because he's a beast, dude. That kid, he impressed me. I think he impressed me more than almost anybody on that team because I expected Worthy to be awesome. I expected, a lot of these guys to be really good. I didn't know how he would do. He played a top three defensive line, and he held it down.
Yeah.
Got to give that kid credit, man. Got to give him all the credit. And look, they really didn't have that much of. What did Henry have? Like 28 yards?
Like 34. It was he got a couple things, but it wasn't nothing like
But it wasn't huge. I mean, he didn't have a bunch of yards.
And that was without Frank Clark.
And that's exactly. I mean, I don't know, dude. I love that kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that kid. I love everything about him. Henry had a rough game on his side of the ball, running the ball, but that defensive line was stout. And for him to handle himself, and then also he did open up a lot of lanes. If you look, he was part of that. If I remember right, he was part of that Worthy run. If you looked at how he opened that up, shit, he's going to get paid, dude. He's going to get paid. I mean, I didn't see the Ravens offensive line doing that much for their running backs.
Nope.
Look at that. You know who's an animal? Did you see that play right there? Play that again, Thiz. I got to bring this up because I brought it up on Twitter and it kind of went viral. Watch this play. Look at Nick. Look at Creed. Watch him.
Creed pancake right
and
there.
And then you watch
Creed
Kelsey.
And Creed or Kelsey also got a pancake block.
Oh, yes, he did. I love that. That entire play right there was phenomenal. And look, Roquan can cry in his soup for all I give a shit. Because he is probably the dirtiest player in the NFL right now. I don't know that there's another dirtier player than him. He's a crybaby little sissy. And he let backup tight end bitch his ass on the sidelines. So I'm happy with what we ended up with. But our offensive line's good. I got a feeling if that kid continues to play the way he is, this might be the best offensive line Mahomes has had in a long time, if ever.
Yep.
So we're in good shape, man. We're in a good shape. We're in a great position right now. I got a feeling this is going to be a historic year for this football team. Historic.
What do you guys?
I don't know if there's a team. Caleb, can you think of a team right now in the ASC, period, that can take us down at any point during this season? The
only way we're going to lose if we lose to ourselves. That's the only way I see things.
Thank you. Because I don't see a team out there that has as much talent as we have, and they definitely don't have the coaching staff. This team's scary. I know I've said that in the past, but this team scares the shit out. It should scare everybody in the NFL. And you know who it should scare the most? The team that we beat. I mean, we're 4-0 against them, and they're a Super Bowl team almost every year, and that's the 49ers.
Yep.
That's who it should scare. I don't know, man. They're dangerous.
What are you guys' score predictions for this upcoming game? I guess I can go first, then we'll go JP, then Quentin. Sound like a plan?
Sure.
Quentin's all right, so I think conservative, so.
You used to call me that. Well, I'm glad I don't got that title anymore.
No, but it's Quentin.
I'm going to say I'm going to give the Chiefs. I'm going to give them, let's say, 27. The Bengals are going to get 17. 27-17. I think the Bengals
You're
are going to
being
get
a little conservative right now.
There's no blowouts, JP. We've been through this. It's going to be close all season.
Look at the team they just played.
Okay, JP, this is the Bengals Super Bowl. Every team plays this their Super Bowl.
It was the Ravens Super Bowl.
Well, we're gonna have 17 more Super Bowls to play. So
I know. He said, "I'm glad the Chiefs re-signed Noah Gray." Oh, absolutely. I can't go there. This is going to be. I have a feeling. I'm going to just say this: 35-17. I'm going to give Burrow 17 points, and I don't know why I'm giving him that much with our defense, but I'm going to give it to him. 35-17.
All right, Quentin.
Yeah, I'm actually close to Caleb here because here's what we know about Andy Reid is that, when he's up by 10, he's not going to run the score up. So I do think that this game's not, it's going to be a lot like the Ravens game where I think the score is going to reflect that it looks closer than it was because in the Ravens game, the Chiefs dominated that game for
absolutely.
basically after the Ravens scored their first touchdown drive, the Chiefs were in control of that game all the way up until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You will.
So I feel like the game is going to be a lot like that, and we're probably going to end with a similar score. So I'm going to go something like 27-17, 27-20 is where I'm going to sit. So final answer, we'll go 27-20
Okay.
because I just feel like this game is going to be Chiefs dominant, and it's the Bengals will just make it a little bit closer towards the end because that's just how football works.
Yep.
But you know what? Here's the thing you got to look at, and this is the only reason I say this. The Ravens themselves as a football team don't trash talk as much publicly as the Bengals do. Okay, we have the upper hand on the Ravens. We always have, but they don't trash talk as much. Mahomes is tired of these close games. He wants to be able to break out that. Why do you think he wanted this football team? I'm telling you, I got a feeling this is going to be one of those games to where Mahomes says, "You know what? I'm taking over this shit. I want to score. I'm going to score." And
Okay.
everybody on this offensive unit is going to score. I got a feeling, man. I mean, I know he hears all that bullshit that all these guys talk. Worthy hears it. Rice hears it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to
That's
be.
why they're not saying much. They're just gonna they said they're gonna let play do the talk.
That's right. And that, Worthy made it very clear. That's, let our play do the talking. I got a feeling he's going to have a really good game. I got a feeling Rice is going to have a really good game. Rice is going to blow it up again.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, we'll have to talk about when the game comes back on.
That's
Sunday.
right. We'll be seeing you guys Sunday. Thank you, Will. We appreciate it, man. We will see you guys Sunday. Peace out, everybody.